racked up, stacked up over 11 rows deep. The Gridlife Rush Series rebranded for 2025. Cars side by side, Ryan Leach, Andy Vogel. Leach has chosen the inside lane for the start, gives him driver's left for the first corner. Time to go racing again at Gridlife, South Carolina, here at Carolina Motorsports Park in Kershaw. It's race 2 of round 1 for the Gridlife Rush Series, and great flags in the air and underway. It's a dead heat start between Leach and Vogel. They're going to be side by side towards turn 1, 3 wide in the back, and it's Leach that just clears Vogel by a nose into turn number 1.
We've already got a dirt drop there, but everybody's keeping it together. No impact yet, just really close side by side racing. These small cars out here can really make it dramatic going 3, 4 wide. All the way at the back of the field, we've got some side by side action, just battles everywhere through the field.
And it looks like Leach has slipped up. He's dropped to 3rd place, so he made a mistake leaving turn 3. Big lockup there by one of the Sunoco cars, and they've gathered it back up, but Leach dropped to 3rd. Vogel had actually lost a spot to Bratz, but
yeah, we've got really tight battles everywhere. Everybody's lining up to take the faster turns. Ooh.
Big lunge from a little ways back. Was that the 33 of Alexander that took that big lunge? That was a huge leap on the brakes. Again, these cars carry pretty good speed, about 130 miles an hour, but look at Andy Vogel all over Nico Bratz here, side by side, almost a fender touch there on the run down to 11, Kevin.
He knows he's got that pace. He's just taking advantage of it, making sure he can get that front position. Maybe he can run away a little bit and try to not repeat that issues with traffic he had in the last race.
Yeah, and again, it was Ryan Leach. He said he saved tires yesterday, but in dry conditions, how much will that matter? Bratz riding the rim, carries a lot more speed on the outside. Vogel cuts it down, shortens the distance, but it's a 3-car battle at the front of the field.
Yeah, this is not an agreed move. Everybody wants that front position. The battle is not over. We're trying to jockey for it. Here's that last turn that can be a use or lose, and we're seeing cars stacked up right next to each other.
Across the start-finish line here, lap 1 complete. So it'll be Vogel that leads the way. Bratz 2nd, Leach 3rd. Then behind them, it's Alexander, then Nate Hamilton. TJ Hunt's right in the mix there, 6th place as well. He's holding off a whole bunch of cars, including James French, who's up 6 or 7 spots in the opening lap. But Vogel sets a purple lap and is starting to try to sprint away from Bratz.
Yeah, and Andy's got a little bit of that lead going, but it's not enough to get comfortable. We know these tires have a lot of life in them, and they weren't used during the rain race, so everybody's got fresh rubber and lots to be put to use.
Now the slipstream here for Ryan Leach. Can he just tuck in behind the number 7 and use that draft to his advantage on the run from turn 8 or to turn 11? Much longer straight from the exit of 8 all the way down to 11. Just that kink, but it's easy flat in these cars. And Vogel would just like to make sure that there's nobody in those rearview mirrors, but it's going to take some work.
And we've got the first 3 up close together, but they are running away from the pack. And Andy, look at that lead. That's looking incredible. But we'll see if that draft advantage, already popping out to try to make that position. And now we've got, we've got it. Whoa, that is tight. Looks like they might even be rubbing and touching all the way through there.
Full course yellow, double yellow flag. So the first caution of this race is out just after that pass for 2nd place. So somewhere on track, we've had an incident.
And if you've got a big lead, this is not what you want to see. In turn 14, just what we were talking about.
Turn 1, rather. So we're coming up to this corner. They gave, this car must have spun probably on the end of lap 1, beginning of lap 2, and they didn't want the leaders to have to drive back through this. So the pace car is going to come to a stop here and pick up the field and navigate them around. But under yellow,
you're absolutely right. I was looking at the car's direction, which is not always the right indication.
That one was backwards, so that doesn't help.
And this, I had a similar situation in Lime Rock last year where I had a chance to be up front, and then a safety car took away a lead I had. So I know Andy is not happy about that. Closes the gap back, and he's going to have to defend again as soon as we go back to green. Yeah,
Ryan Leach is going to get an opportunity on this restart. He definitely missed something in turn 3 on the opening lap, dropped him a few spots, but he's very, very fast. We saw him get back by Bratz right before the yellow flag, and he was lucky that he got that pass when he did, because immediately after he completed that pass, that's when the yellow flags came out. So, he's going to have an opportunity on this restart, and you might not get another one, so you've got to pounce immediately and take advantage of Vogel's relative inexperience in these cars compared to his own. Trust that you're going to have grip at turn 1 when Vogel might not.
Yeah, and this might be his first restart. He had a race in California, and he's got a lot of time in track battle, but this is another part of the game, right? This is another part of the wheel-to-wheel world that you might be new to as you enter a series.
Yeah, certainly. I think he's had a couple restarts back at Laguna Seca, but certainly none that he was leading, right? So that's the big key. When you come back around, the rules in Gridlife are such that you go on green. It's not, you don't have a restart zone where you just get to decide in some arbitrary, no, when the green flag waves, everybody goes. So if you have a slower reaction time than the guy behind you, you will get passed. And especially in these cars when there are spec equipment, you've got the same power as the car behind you. If he gets on the throttle a tenth of a second quicker, he will beat you to the first corner.
It makes a huge difference. And with everybody stacked so close, you can be pretty far back. And if you've got a much better reaction time, it can make a huge difference for the race overall. So everyone's thinking about this strategy. And if you're not thinking at the right time, if you're not ready for this, it could really come back to bite you.
The car that went around was the Team N. Alzheimer's Motorsports car at turn 1. And they started 14th. We didn't exactly see what led to that spin, but it just got turned around backwards, and it didn't seem like it wanted to restart for them. And even under the pace lap, took a second for people to figure out which way they would have gone. So better to do that at 50 miles an hour than 100.
Absolutely. Yep, so we're still stacked up here. You see everybody's pretty much lined up. Some are trying to keep some heat in those tires, but we're not sure exactly when. Everyone's looking to see if the lights go out in that safety car. Yeah,
well, and again, I imagine this will be pretty quick, and the lights are out on the safety car. So pretty quick yellow because the car was right by where the tow trucks can just go out and grab it. So we will go back green this time by with about 8.5, 9 minutes remaining in this race. But it's Andy Vogel in command over Ryan Leach, Nico Bratz, and the 33 of Ethan Alexander in that blue metallic car, who was actually making a pretty good charge on those front three while they were battling.
Yeah, exactly. So here's that. We're coming up towards the end here. We're going to see the car pull off on the front straight, and everybody's got to be watching so closely. You're looking for just a little movement in the arm to see that green flag go down, to know it's time to go for everything you've got and try to get ahead of the pack.
Yeah, to keep an eye on TJ Hunt, 8th place in that number 28 car. He would love to grab a spot here on French or Batley. Again, James French has won 24 Hours of Daytona in the Prototype Challenge category. He's got lots of experience in cars that have some similar characteristics, but waiting for the green flag to fly. The field's stacking up. Here we go. Green flag, and we're back underway at Gridlife, South Carolina from a long ways back. I think that was TJ Hunt that was on it, ready to grab a spot here down into turn 1. But look at this. Ryan Leach goes to the lead out of turn 1.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of position changes right there. Just like we said, it's all about reaction time. Leach took advantage and got ahead early, and we've still got a tight grouping for the front three, but a lot of position changes just behind that. I think I saw 4 wide.
Oh, big wiggle there for Ryan Leach, the race leader, and they were 3 and 4 wide. TJ Hunt there in the dark gray car with the Sunoco logo on the nose. He had a big charge on the opening start. The one thing you don't want to do is get yourself caught for a jump start as well. They'll be watching in the tower to see if that was something they'll have to investigate post-race. But at the moment, it's Leach over Vogel, over Bratz, over Ethan Alexander. Down into, and then I think, is it? I think TJ's a couple spots behind that, but.
That was a clean lunge right there. And it looks like he might be able to hold on to it all the way through there. Yeah, see, you've got all these right set up, so if you can get on the inside of it, wow.
Little hip check
that was
there.
A sudden move.
Yeah. Grant Anderson, Evan Shanks are in this battle as well. But getting back onto the racing line, braking for turn 11. Great passing opportunity. Anderson still side by side a little bit deeper with the 51 of Hughes. This is all the battle for about 9th spot here. Whoa, Grant Anderson, big wiggle. He caught it though, didn't he? Quick hands.
Now all the field behind, wow, and there's a little bit of brake lock up too. Everybody's kind of getting in with the chaos.
Yeah.
And we've got some more side-by-side action.
I think that was Shanks that had a little lock up there. He gathered it up pretty nicely though, and we're on the outside. Anderson's got more charge this time from, it's the one, the 333 maybe of Andrew Lee, but across the stripe here.
Big slide all the way through 14, but he's still holding on to that position, although we're seeing a bunch of back and forth try to gain it back.
Yeah, front three are beginning to separate themselves once again. Ethan Alexander has James French all over his heels. A little side-by-side deeper in the field. I think that is Shanks there, having a little battle a bit deeper with, I think that's Brett DiGiacomo that he's fighting.
And with that clean air up front, Leach has pulled a fastest lap.
So tell me about the concept of clean air, because we talk about the draft and how that can be an advantage, but what's clean versus, I guess the other term would be dirty air, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So clean air has nothing to do with the weather conditions or anything like that. It has everything to do with the car in front of you, and what its aerodynamics that benefit itself can be a disadvantage of you when you're behind it.
Yeah, so it's like I always say on the straightaways, you want to be behind somebody. That's the draft. But when you get to the corners, you need the downforce, and the downforce and the draft sort of are opposite effects in some ways. So you don't want to be following someone directly through a fast corner if you can help it. And Vogel's kind of on his back, his hind legs here a little bit because Bratz is chomping at the bit here.
Yeah, he's fallen back a little bit from Leach, and so now he's more in a defensive mode, which is not where he needs to be because he's got to make that position back if he's going for that first move.
Yeah, just got to get his comfort back away again. That restart definitely caught him by surprise just a little bit, and Leach was ready to pounce. So front three there, Leach, Vogel, and Bratz, and then Nico Bratz again. The way that he lost Road America last year and the run up the hill, 3 abreast to lose by 56 thousandths of a second. I mean, he wants one so bad.
Absolutely. No one in that top 3 is okay with any position but first. They're all going to go for it. They're just working on their strategy.
Yeah, a little dissuasion there from Ethan Alexander, swerving to the side. You can do that. He didn't react to the car behind him, which is James French. He just sort of moved off to the left to dissuade French from going up the inside. As long as you don't do that in reaction, that's fair play.
Exactly. We don't allow blocking, but that doesn't mean that you can't make your position known and do something that makes it harder for the other driver to get around.
There's that number 7, Nico Bratz again, metallic red, easy to spot from a mile away. Trying to chase down Vogel. These front 3 have just been in a league of their own so far this weekend. And there was a lot of volatility in the race yesterday because of the varying weather conditions, the drying track, the wet weather tires. But today it's on slicks, it's all the grip. So show the stuff that you've got.
And we're still throwing everything at them with the safety car and the reset, and yet these 3 still broke away and pulled away from the pack. So we know they've got the pace. It's really just between them and how they're going to sort it out near the end of the race.
Yeah, I wonder if Vogel's probably just at the upper limit of what that draft will help with. Once you're about 8-9 tenths of a second back, you're not going to feel that effect so much. But I think it's this area, the carousel in particular, that these drivers seem to have very different opinions on how to drive. We saw Bratz kind of ride the rim earlier. Vogel was a much tighter line. And now you see Vogel sort of trending outward. A little battle a bit deeper in the field here. This is the 227 car.
We always have to double check with those pink liveried cars because they
AJ Campo.
2 of them.
It's Jeremy Boysen is out there as well, a little bit further up the road, but there is 2 of them, and they both have 2s in their. I bet you they're owned by the same guy too, if I had to guess.
No doubt.
But here comes Campo. Up the inside. Lock up and spin, and right in front of the other competitor. Just locked the rears, and it just turned around on him like a tabletop, huh?
That's all it takes. One little false move, and now you're out. You'll have the opportunity to finish the race, but when you spin like that, everybody's so tight. The competition's so tight. You've just lost all that progress.
Yeah, so battles will continue now until they get turned back around. Ooh, that's that Grant Anderson getting hip and shoulder there a little bit. That was very tight between those 2.
Forced up on the curb, but he kept it together and actually got the forward position.
Yeah, that was Grant Anderson right behind the 28. That's TJ Hunt right there, so they're going at it. These 2 guys spend a lot of time together on the internet, on YouTube, hanging out with each other, coming to these Gridlife events together, now racing each other wheel to wheel. There's bragging rights on the line here today, for sure.
This is more aggressive than a YouTube comment section. They're out there trying to take it all.
And right ahead of them is 12, the 12 car. That's Brett DiGiacomo, who started pretty deep in the field, 18th place.
Great looking car. I saw a lot of progress right after the start of the race. Really just kind of took a line that was clear and ran up a few positions from the very start.
Yeah, so DiGiacomo continues to climb. I imagine he's actually passed up into the top 10 now, getting past TJ Hunt and Grant Anderson on this lap. So we'll see that update the next time they cross the stripe. But we've seen him up in the front before. I think yesterday was a bit of a letdown, all things considered. So he'll be charging back forward.
And you might see the same kind of drivers do really well in the dry and a totally different selection of drivers that excel in wet conditions. So what we looked at in race 1 is not going to be very indicative of what we see here in race 2. Now we're coming up on the final lap, so now this is for all the beans. Yeah,
white flag is out now. 1 lap to go here at Gridlife, South Carolina, and Ryan Leach leads by 1.3 seconds. It's not exactly as fierce as it was yesterday on the last lap, but Leach is just so much more comfortable leading this race than he was running second yesterday.
Yeah, you can see that comfort, you can see that pace. He's really just built a gap and then extended it all through this race. So I think he's got a clear shot at it. He's just got to not make a little mistake. That's all it would take to change the order.
Yeah, opportunity maybe for Bratz to get by Vogel on this final lap. There's only about well, about a half a second between them, but that gap has come down a little bit. Any mistake by Vogel, Bratz will be there to pounce.
And Bratz, in the second carousel there, Bratz does seem to have a good bit of pace, and he might be able to close him in there, but that's really close to the end of the race. So that's where it all comes down, coming around this turn.
Only a handful of corners left here. Turn 11, 12, 13, 14. And Ryan Leach setting the pace as he did yesterday. It was a late race. It was a beautiful lead and beautiful pass. Made a mistake on the start, recouped it after the yellow flag. But Ryan Leach, after passing for the lead on the final lap yesterday, has a little more comfortable advantage today. He will come out of the final corner, and Ryan Leach goes 2 for 2, checkered flag here at Gridlife, South Carolina. Race 2 of the Gridlife Rush Series goes to the 56.
You know he's going to be proud of that one. He absolutely earned it. There's no asterisks next to that. There's no question. That was just a well-fought battle and some clean racing.
It was great racing there amongst those top three, and no hip and shoulder there. Vogel, Bratz round out the podium. It is James French got by Alexander there on the final lap of the race. Then Batley, Hamilton, Hughes, Wilson, DeGiacomo, the rest of your top 10. A little smoke. There's a tire down.
Is that a tire out?
Yeah, Grant Anderson's got a left rear tire that's gone flat. I wonder if there is some argy-bargy, as Calvin Fish would call it.
Possibly. But it made it all the way to the finish line. That's the best thing you could do in those conditions, so excellent.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
And let's see if that bodywork. These cars are so robust, it's hard to tell if he's actually gotten hit by somebody.
Yeah, it's working pretty well.
But tire didn't hold up as well as the bodywork did. But there's your top three after finishing the race. What a drive by these three. And we saw all three of these cars leading at one point.
Yes.
Which is unbelievable. Bratz on the start, then it was Vogel for a couple of laps, and then Leach took it right back on the restart after the yellow flag.
Yeah, that was some excellent racing. Everybody got a taste of the front. Everybody got the pressure associated with being ahead of the entire pack and knowing to follow. And then it was one car at the end of the race, and that was Ryan Leach. He was able to pull that lead and carry it all the way through, and it was a well-fought and fully earned win.
Yeah, so starting off 2 for 2. Again, we're back to the classic Gridlife point system. So 25 points yesterday, 25 points today. So that's 50 points. If he wins race 3, he's got the weekend locked up. No one can beat him. So as a driver, you want to do everything you can to kind of lock down your results and make sure that no one else can beat you in that last race. Of course, we won't have a field inversion for the last race like we do in IBOC GLTC.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a points competition for the entire week, and what we've got here is Ryan Leach on the lead, and then Andy Vogel, second place behind him, Bratz, and then James French fourth. Ethan Alexander took fifth, Jason Batley and Nate Hamilton, sixth and seventh, Gage Hughes, Matt Wilson, and then Brett Diamojo.
Yeah, solid top 10 there, and great battles again with those top three, James French and Ethan Alexander. That was a position swap on the last lap of the race, and I mentioned that French, all the experience he has in prototype machinery over in the in what was at that point the WeatherTech Championship in the prototype challenge category. So he's used to driving cars that have sort of the high downforce package on it. So he made that charge all the way from deep on the grid. You're looking down a little bit further on the order as well. The drivers that just slipped out of the top 10 in that race. I think Evan Shanks slipped out, although, or not. Because page 2 didn't seem to load up very well.
TJ Hunt was also up there in the mix.
Yeah,
and then,
he was.
Couldn't hold on to it till the very end, but he was up there for a while.
All right, let's have a look at the highlights here from the Gridlife Rush Series race number 2. Andy Vogel getting the push start to kick things off. On the green flag, though, watch that number 7, the red car. He got a great launch, but he led out of turn number 6 after a slip up here. A little side-by-side battle deeper in the field between the 77 and the 227. Here was Andy Vogel leading the way after a couple of laps of action. A lot of side-by-side. Evan Shanks had a big lockup with that right rear tire, slowing things down. And then Grant Anderson was in this fierce battle for a while. Big slip up there on the run up to the start-finish line. We got down here to turn 11, a little bit of a slip and slide. The 227 lost it. And then Grant Anderson continued his battle. He was really the star of the mid-pack show today, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
Great battles there. All the way back around to the checkered flag where it was Ryan Leach that took home the victory here in the Gridlife Rush Series. Race number 2 of the weekend is complete.
The 3